What's up, mobile gamers? It's Dronzer Gigs. Today is a sad day for people that play Johnny Jet. I don't know what they were thinking, but for some reason, they nerfed him. And they nerfed him in the most crucial part of his kit. So, he did get a second ability, right? We'll talk about that a little bit. He has an auto spray can, so toss an auto spray can to deal damage over time to opponents entering the range and reduce their speed. Does 700 damage per second. Trust me, you probably won't even notice it. He does have a gain boosted speed while in range of Veil of Chaos, which is nice, but that's where the nerf comes in. His tactical ability, the first one, leap forward and create a veiled space, become invisible, and slowly heal self while in the space. They changed how this works, so we'll actually go in here and show it to you real quick before we jump into a match, just because I want to get this shown to you guys in a controlled environment, so you're not watching the video while I'm playing in like team deathmatch and you're like, it seems kind of off. What's the difference? And I don't explain it well enough. So, for those of you guys that don't know, he does have 2 stacks of the Veil of Chaos, right? But normally you see this, right? This does not heal for as much. I think here, this Victor damages me real quick here. See if we can get him to shoot at me here. Come on, Victor. Come on, Victor. And he missed. Is he he's gonna miss? There we go. Alright. So it heals slower. That's the first thing you guys are gonna notice. So now, you've taken a character that very much so needs to be in his veil when he gets damaged. And it does not heal him as much. So he's a sitting duck because he's not going to heal in his veil as much as he used to before, which means he has to stay in it longer. And this is where the nerf comes in. Very sad day, but let's say, you know, your normal playstyle with Johnny, this does seem a little bit small, but no worries. He heals less, but no worries. You're just going to go ahead and you're going to use the 1 stock and then the 2nd stock. And it makes the first one disappear. Very, very huge nerf, because what he needed with those 2 stacks is to be able to play between these 2 puddles so that you are a little bit more unpredictable. And what they've done now is you can only have 1 at a time. And they nerfed the healing. So, for those of you that don't quite understand, I would assume most of you do, now Johnny is a sitting duck in 1 puddle because he cannot make 2 at the same time. It severely limits his playstyle, and he's already in a bad spot as it is, because his gun, you have to hit pretty much all headshots with the extra damage you get when you use like the full clip on somebody. You have that little bar that fills up, and that bar gives you a little bit of extra damage. But even if you were to hit all your shots, you get mostly headshots, you can't one clip almost anybody. You can one clip, we'll just go with all the heroes here. You can one clip Kazuma, maybe. I think he actually got a buff, so maybe not. You can one clip Vincent. Obviously Vincent's pretty bad, but you're not going to be able to do as much damage as you used to, because now your area of escape is limited even more. You only have 1 veil. And even though you can do 2, like you can have 1 out and then you can also do it again, like you have 2 stacks, but you're only going to have 1 out at a time. And that is the problem with Johnny, is he needs that second one, especially when they're not going to buff his gun. If they would have buffed his gun and made him better in overall encounters, I can understand. But they just nerfed the worst character in the game. Like, you take the characters and you stack them up. Johnny's like, he's like a D or C like hero. If you have all like your tiers, you go D to S or something, whatever. Basically, he's bottom of the barrel in terms of heroes, and they just nerfed him. They said they wanted to give him more area to play around with the second ability, right? But that's not how this ability works. We'll put it up here. So now we've got this covered. It'll start shooting them if they come through this way. Yeah, they're not going to. They're going to play far range. So it's just like, look how slow this is. It's crazy, you guys. It's crazy. I will say, you can just pop it out, distract him a little bit. So you definitely can do more with him with the second ability, but that was a given. Whenever a hero gets a second ability, they always get more playability. They have more things that they can do with their ultimates and their other abilities here. So, as you can see, if you use it right, it's definitely good. But the downside is that the Veil of Chaos is one of the biggest parts of his kit, and to not be able to have 2 severely limits where he can heal at. So he can't recover as much and he can't hide as much. So think about the biggest counter to Johnny, right? We've already talked about this many, many times. The biggest counter to Johnny... Oh shoot, how did he see me? That's crazy. Alright, alright. So now he knows exactly where I am. I've only got 1 Veil. So he knows exactly where I am, and I'm going to heal very slow. Like, painfully slow. It's a huge, huge nerf. I think it's too much. They shouldn't have done it. I think it severely limits what he can do. And he's just not as versatile as he used to be. Now imagine, if you will, a Hunter player. We're already dead. But, imagine, right? I know I say that so much. I just wanted to mess with you guys. But, think about the Hunter players that we're always talking about. Oh, Hunter counters Johnny Jet really, really easily, honestly. He's super good at countering Johnny. And now, I've only got 1 place to hide. I can jump around all I want, but I can only go to 1 spot. His ultimate is slow, his gun doesn't do enough.
Sorry, you're trapped.
The new ability's kinda nice, but again, the new ability does not do enough. And more than like, they only need to look at 1 puddle to know where I'm at. And that is the biggest downside, is Johnny is very, very predictable now. Before, you know, you could kind of mix it up on him, put 2 puddles down in the same area, it wouldn't be as bad. But now it's just like... So we will counter this fade if he rushes us, because we can literally just use our ability. See, he knows exactly where we're at. The only reason we're not dead is because he misses. He's not... Oh, look at that. See, we juked him without even trying. But that's my point, is that he knew exactly where we were, and the only reason we're alive is because he's bad. Oh, okay, we're... Oh, he got me in the air. That's crazy. Anyways, like I was saying, it's going to be very difficult. Now, Johnny has a very high skill ceiling. Sorry about not saying that right, but anyways, he's got a very high skill ceiling, you know? And it's going to be very tough to play Johnny successfully now, because you don't have anywhere to run, and your damage is already not very good.
Halfway to victory.
Okay, we're probably dead here. But you see, like, I can hide in this all I want, but it's not enough. This does not heal me enough. I can't put a second one down, and I can't stay in this one for very long. So he already can't heal very much, and his playstyle is very limited. He's got to be very careful with what he does. And it kind of put Johnny into a corner, you know what I mean? His ultimate is just terrible. He doesn't have any saving grace in his kit. You know, maybe you can kind of sneak up on somebody, but overall, he's missing areas that almost every other hero can fill his flanker role, and the invisibility that he has is not enough to justify the nerf, because most heroes already beat Johnny in a 1v1. You think about characters like Fade, obviously he's in this match, so we're going to use him as an example. But characters like Fade, or Labula, Christina, all those heroes have areas of their kit where they can deal with Johnny, and now you've limited him to 1 Veil. 1 Veil, and it doesn't even heal. So his passive of healing in the Veil, worthless. The ability to put 2 down and outplay your opponents, worthless. The ability to not be found by people like Hunter, worthless. You just go on and on and on with the downsides of Johnny, and It's very sad as somebody who loves to play Johnny to see this. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Let me know down in the comments, but he's in a pretty bad spot. We're probably going to get bots now just because we lost. I'm not sure how the bots work. I know you can do like an advanced mode and stuff like that. I probably won't make a video on that. I think that's pretty simple to kind of get your head around. But it is tough out here for Johnny Jet mains. He has no versatility. He's a one-trick pony, and he can't even do that trick well. And it's sad. It really is. I would love Johnny Jet. I wish he'd have some more skins. I wish they'd show him some love. If you guys remember Season 0 Johnny Jet, he was cracked. He was insane. And to be honest, if you put Season 0 Johnny Jet against any of these heroes as they are now, he loses. If you give him that second ability and Season 0, it's kind of fair game.
3, 2.
But, I mean,
1.
think about it. Let's see.
Start.
You have Hunter, right? Normally, I'd be like, oh, you know, not a lot of people have Hunter. It might not be such a hard counter if it's not being used all the time. But Hunter is basically a free hero. Oh, I wonder if I can throw it through this little opening here. Oh, that's cool. Alright. Anyway, that's pretty boring for me to talk about like that, but we're going to go ahead. And that's the other thing. His ult is so slow. His utility in Crystal is from him being able to put down his ultimate and do a lot of damage to the Crystal. I didn't even get that kill. I actually thought I got that kill. That's pretty crazy. But we're going to... We'll put this right here. And it has this... It doesn't even stay up very long. Like, I'll kind of wait. It is dealing damage through the wall a tiny bit. And it does help out the Hunter. But Hunter is a free hero. If you log in, I think... It's been a long time, so take it easy on me. But I'm pretty sure Hunter... as long as you log in like once a day for 7 days or something like that, then you can keep Hunter and you can use him. He's basically a free hero. You don't have to do any rumble boxes. You don't have to buy him like Vincent, and he hard counters Johnny Jet, and a lot of heroes actually hard counter Johnny Jet. You know, I mean, sure, this is a Gatlin and a... Oh my gosh, are we gonna get the kill on the... I think we would have got the kill on the Gatlin if the Osas wasn't right by her. But, I mean, look at that. Turret's doing 140, but it's not that much. If you compare that to some of the other stuff that other heroes can do, and what their second ability gives them, and I'll just use Hunter as an example because he's right here. So grab the kill on the Gatlin. So it does 280 to the Crystal. That's actually... it does more to the Crystal than it does to most heroes. But you have the problem that you keep having with Johnny, and that is that his abilities just don't do enough. And the only saving grace he had with bad abilities was the fact that his Veil, you can use 2 of them. Now, Crystal Assault, we're versing a certain level of enemies, so they're lower level than I am, more than likely since we lost our last match. But, you know, I just think that he really needs that second Veil to push him over the top to a usable spot like all the other heroes. And that's where you get talking about the buffs and nerfs that I always talk about, and that is that you should always buff heroes. Never nerf a hero. If you have a strong hero like Aletta or Season 0 Johnny Jet, what do? Well, you just make it so all the heroes are at that same level. That's what I think personally. Unless the overpowered hero's ruining the game like Hunter, then maybe you nerf it. But I do think that Johnny Jet needs some love. He needs a lot more in terms of buffs. At least he has to have one buff in some sort of area. I think it should be to his gun. I think if you buffed his gun, then he'd be where he needs to be. So, like, they know exactly where I am. There's no way for me to outplay these guys. I'm gonna just hope that my little bot there can deal enough damage to the Crystal. Like, they know where I am. and I go here, and I could go back and forth before, but now they know exactly where I am, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Victory!
This is his only saving grace, is that the little ball that you have will do damage to the crystal and just stay there and do damage. So in this one mode, he's kind of useful. But you saw that I didn't even get MVP. I think, let's see, 4 and 3. Okay, so he just got a lot more kills, that's why. But overall, Johnny Jet's in a pretty bad place, especially with all the hard counters. I'll just show you guys. We'll go over to the heroes and we'll say, who hard counters Johnny Jet? Because think about this. Before, you could have 2 Veils going at the same time, so they have to guess between 2 locations to where you might be, and if they so happen to find you, it does enough healing to where it's not that big a deal. Now, not only does it do less healing, but there's only one for them to look at. So let's say I'm playing somebody like Gloria who doesn't hard counter Johnny at all. He jumps away, and maybe he jumps a second time. I know exactly where he's at. He can only be in that zone, and he will not be full health by the time I find him. There's absolutely no way. It'll actually time out on the Veil of Chaos before he can be at full health unless I just didn't do a lot of damage. So somebody like Osas, his tactical counters Johnny's. You just throw it on the little Veil of Chaos, boom. It's probably going to kill him faster than anything else. Gatlin, she has the spray. If she's not in her Ubercharge mode, she has like a hip fire. That can counter. I think Skady's net has pretty good like hitbox ranges. So we're not even talking about ultimates here. We're talking about tacticals and regular weapons. And Skady's net now, you won't be worried about missing and guessing wrong on that Veil of Chaos because he only has 1. So already that's 3 out of 4. Okay, then you go Mark. Mark doesn't really counter him. Hua Ling, she has the Snare Bomb. That'll reveal him, slow him down, and even when he's sitting in his invisibility of his Veil of Chaos, it'll still be around his body, right? Then let's see. I think Shell's new second ability technically would work. I'm not fully sure on that. I haven't played her too much. We'll have to test it out in the next video. Sindri, she still has her standard fire that has the little AoE on the balls that she shoots. So that's a counter as well. So here you're sitting at, what is that? Half the heroes so far. Fort counters. Aletta, she has the hip fire spray, even if it doesn't do a lot of damage. That counters. Ya, I don't really think Ya counters too much, so we won't even count her. Jabali, obviously he counters because his is like an AoE. It'll like track them if they're within that 5-meter radius. He counters. Hunter is a very, very hard counter, right? Hunter can literally reveal him while he's in the Veil, and he'll be revealed in his next jump. Hunter's a hard counter. Diggy. A lot of people are like, oh, Diggy doesn't counter him. First off, she's got the spread on her shotgun, and then her ability, if you guys didn't know this, it has damage mitigation, and when you come out of the shark mode, it does damage. So if you come out of the shark mode in the middle of the Veil of Chaos, it'll counter. Christina, hard counter. Zero Kelvin, he can throw the snowballs, hard counter. Victor, I mean, I guess you could hit with his charge. I'm not sure on the hitbox. So we won't count that. We're being generous with the people that don't counter Johnny Jet. Labula counters. Chemist counters. Kazuma counters. Judix, if you throw her little blinding orb, it'll hit him and blind him, and whenever they're blinded, they get that little eyeball, so that'll counter him. Ruby, she has 3 cards. You just shoot at the middle of the Veil of Chaos, and one of those cards will hit him. That's a counter. Fade's a counter. Vincent, probably not really a counter. So almost all the heroes on that list, hard counter Johnny Jet. And it's honestly a huge, huge deal. And they just really took away the last part of his kit that gives him any fighting chance against these other heroes. I'm very, very disappointed. I'm sad. You know I love Johnny Jet. I'm not going to stop playing him or anything like that. I've still got the guide. I'll put out a guide on Johnny a couple weeks from now. But it's rough to be a Johnny Jet player because he just doesn't have enough in his toolkit to adequately go against these people. His gun doesn't do enough. It's not going to one shot or one clip anybody. You're not going to use one mag to get a full kill unless that person's already taken some damage. So while you can use the auto spray cannon, you know, it only takes one shot to kill it. None of the people that we saw in the games today shot at it, but it literally takes one bullet. Less than Vincent. So you look at it, kill it, boom. So that's not a very decent ability. It's nice in Crystal Assault. Veil of Chaos, you've only got one stack and it doesn't heal you anymore. Jet Stim, his ultimate, it's a nice thought, but it doesn't have a fast enough cooldown, so you're never going to get that ultimate, but maybe 1 or 2 times a match, max. It's just not enough utility. His blending in passive ability, it was cool, but now you can't connect 2 veils together, and the veil doesn't heal you enough. So sure, you're faster in it, but they've only got to look in one spot. So if you look at all of his kit and every single ability and passive that he has, it's underwhelming. And that is the problem, is he does not have an area where he excels. And it's tough to play him and to be okay with that change. And this is probably one of the harder changes. You know, they didn't nerf Hunter. That's cool. They buffed a lot of characters. That's cool. They nerfed Aletta. That's fine. But the one character that didn't need a nerf was Johnny. He was already very weak where he was, and his second ability that he just got does not do enough. So I know that's pretty negative. We're going to make sure the next video is pretty positive. We'll have this video and then another video that's talking about somebody who got buffed probably, just to kind of offset it, because I don't want to be negative, but I want to tell you guys the truth. And the truth is Johnny is in a bad spot. He's hurting. You know what I mean? Like, he got caught by the cops doing his graffiti, and it's rough. But he's still dancing, so at least he's happy about it. Let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of people are really upset that he got the nerf, and I just want to tell you guys the truth on where he's at. I think he's in a pretty bad spot, and I think he needs a buff. Absolutely, some sort of love for Johnny Jet is what's needed if they want to keep him playable. So those are my thoughts for you guys. Got tons of videos coming out with all these changes, so stay tuned and drop a sub if you want. We're going to be dropping content as much as we can between shifts and stuff like that. So you guys have a good one. Peace out.